as I undertook yesterday, that would convene a meeting on issues of the road safety. We had a meeting this morning. We convened the meeting, and in attendance was the Minister of Works and Transport. We had the Government Chief Whip. We had the ED of UNRWA. We had the Leader of Opposition. We had representatives from police plus the PS of police. That's Internal Affairs. And my good self. You people, if you don't, then I also had a chairman infrastructure and a chairman of road safety. If you don't love yourself, who will love you? The meeting was exhaustively debated. We deliberated on a number of issues on road safety. We adopted resolutions, which resolutions I'm going to read to you, on what we should do on the immediate, medium, and long term. As both Parliament, the public, and executive. And I want to read, and these resolutions are from all the people who attended the meeting. Resolutions of the meeting on the road safety held on 13th July 2023. On the 13th July 2023, the Speaker convened a meeting with the Minister of Works and Transport, the Executive Director, Uganda National Roads Authority, the Government Chief Whip, the Leader of Opposition, the Uganda Police Force, the Minister of Health, Chairman of the Road Safety in Parliament, Chair of Infrastructure in Parliament, and then the Shadow Minister of Infrastructure, of Transport in Parliament. Immediate interventions. Enforcement of relevant laws and regulations is number one. Whereas the Traffic and Road Safety Act 1998 has attendant regulations that have aided its operationalization, the Road Act of 2019, which addresses the various aspects of the road safety, does not have regulations. There is need for regulations to operationalize Section 57, 58, and 59 on the towing and auctioning of abandoned or broken down automobiles on the carriageways. UNRWA has immediately offered at least 8 tow vehicles to tow the abandoned vehicles on the roads. That's an immediate action. The Ministry of Works and Transport must expedite the development of regulations to operationalize the Road Act 2019. The Minister of Works undertook to table the regulations operationalizing the Road Act 2019 within 1 month, and that is by 13th August 2023, we should be having regulations on the floor. That is one. 2, streamlining the motor vehicle registration function under the Ministry of Works and Transport, which requires an addition of 40 billion shillings. The Ministry of Works and Transport needs 40 billion shillings to streamline its registration. 3, the Minister of ICT and National Guidance and Uganda Communication Commission should ensure immediate dissemination of pop-up messages on road safety to all mobile phone users. All the service providers, MTN, Worried, all of them must be able to send messages to people warning them against accidents. And this should be done by UCC. Through UCC, the minister should communicate to UCC, and UCC should inform all the service providers. As of today, all the televisions have agreed to give us airtime for us to be able to create awareness on accidents for free. It's a fight for the whole country. It's no longer an issue of parliament. Replacing missing road furniture, such as the road signs, reflectors, fences, etc., and exploring the use of appropriate alternative materials to minimize the vandalized ones and safety. We have road furniture that have been stolen, the signs have been stolen, so we are saying they must be replaced immediately and maybe use another material which cannot easily be stolen. 5, conclusion of memorandum of understanding between the public agencies responsible for transport and road safety and the private sector on the towing of abandoned vehicles. We are saying that the law says the vehicles will be towed at the cost of the owner. Now, the fact that we do not have money as government, and the law is very clear. So we are saying let's have private institutions that should be able to do that, so that we don't all the time start saying we don't have money, we don't have money. Let it be done by private person who will ensure that he monitors that there are no vehicles on the road, and if there is a vehicle, it is towed aside. 6, sensitization and enforcement of motor third-party insurance. Whereas the motor third-party insurance introduced by the Motor Vehicle Insurance, that is Third-Party Risk Act in 1989, provide for compulsory insurance against a third-party bodily risk in respect to use of motor vehicles. Oftentimes, victims of accidents are not indemnified. There is need for more sensitization on the third-party insurance. You find most of these people who get accidents end up in hospitals. It's again government looking after these people. They are not compensated. They just end up like that. Whereas they are supposed to be indemnified by third party. So the third party insurance should be able to cover that. 7, increase public education and awareness on the road safety in order to shape the road user behavior. There is need for constant and consistent sensitization of the general public on the road safety using all available media, social media, TVs, radios, and all those. The meeting was notified that out of the required budget of 20 billion of the road safety, only 5 billion was provided for. There is therefore need for adequate resourcing of the road safety function across the whole country. And because we are talking about the increased education, that's why we are saying we need a team from Works, UNRWA, from police, even the volunteers from Parliament, if you can, to move from radio to radio, TV to TV, to talk to Ugandans about issues of safety, issues of road safety. It's a very serious matter. Whereas we have other diseases, those ones you can be able to handle. But accidents, these people need to be tested. These people need to be checked. When you get a person like Komakech, he will tell you that you need to test somebody's head all the time. We're told of some people who have diabetes. Somebody has diabetes and maybe gets an attack during the process and he fails to drive, and that's how he causes an accident. Uganda Police Force should scale up the monitoring and enforce compliance with the right way and use the lead cars. Uganda Police Force should scale up monitoring and enforce compliance with the right of way and use of lead cars. Not everybody has a right of way. Honorable members, it's not just a matter of saying, not everybody has a right of way. Not everybody is supposed to have a siren on his or her car. Not everybody is supposed to have those lead lights on the cars. And what we agreed, this must be immediate. Remove them. The persons who are got with that are culpable. They will have breached the law. It is very clear who has a right of way. Now, these people who come with the sirens, with the lead cars, push you off the road. I know I have it, but I have a right. Okay? But they start pushing you out of the road. The Honorable Minister was telling us I was pushed out of the road. So, we are trying. We need to work on what can reduce accidents on the road. And it starts with this house. It starts with this house. Honorable Isengoma, kindly first go and dress well, then you come back. Then we have responsible use of government cars. Are we together? Government vehicles continue to be the highest perpetrators of the traffic offenses, including the road accidents. In 2022, I am reporting what was reported in the meeting. In 2022, over 500 government vehicles were involved in accidents, in causing accidents. Therefore, there is need for us to be more responsible when we are using government vehicles, backed up by sanctions for misuse of the cars that have been given to them, and we must follow the standing orders that are available. And this was a report from police. 10, compliance with the speed limit. There is need for stringent enforcement and increased sensation of road users on compliance with the speed limit. There is urgent need to reintroduce The installation of speed governors in all vehicles to regulate the speed. 11. UNRA is directed to immediately remove the roadside markets and taxi parks that have encroached onto the roads and road reserves. For example, when you go to Busega, will you even pass? When you go to Lukaya, Kareilwe, Kamocha, all those areas, you go to Kireka, Chalwajara, you see all those areas. There is a main road, but there is a market inside the main road. Which kind of country are we living in? And then we start complaining, accidents. Local leaders should create awareness on the need to comply with the road safety rules and regulations. The mistake we make as politicians, we instead go back and tell our people, you do it for the sake of votes. You continue. And yet you know very well that the same voters of yours are going to die of these accidents. So it starts with us, the leaders. Let's talk to the people and make people understand what is good for them in terms of road safety. But if we use this as a way of looking for votes, then it will not help us. The Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development should increase the recurrent budget allocation for UNRA, Minister of Works, and Uganda Police Force for immediate road safety intervention. The immediate road safety intervention is what we have talked about, removing those cars from the road, making sure that we replace the signposts that have been removed, making sure that we create awareness of what is happening with the road safety, ensuring that these sirens of yours are removed. The sirens are removed, and making sure that you enforce the third-party issue, creating the education, compliance with the speed. And we still got a very funny example from one of the ministers. At one time when he was driving, was following some big person. And the big person was driving and was following. When he realized he was driving at 140 kilometers per hour, then he said, no, I think I have a family. If you want to reach early, leave early. Okay? And these drivers who think they want on defensive driving should stop it, because they are the ones causing problems. So many of them. We still need you alive, less respect. By the time they put a speedometer there, they have not told you to finish it. Because at the end of the day, you will go alone. Now imagine the driver who is driving recklessly will even survive. You, the person, you have gone. What will happen? The medium-term interventions, reintroduction of periodic mandatory vehicle inspection. Under the police force, this requires adequate resourcing and equipping of Uganda Police Force. In the 10th Parliament, we had the SGS. When we had the SGS, you saw what happened with the SGS. This Parliament made a resolution that it should go back to police. And now we are saying police must activate and make sure that we have the annual inspection of these vehicles. Adequate equipping of relevant enforcement agencies with relevant tools, including but not limited to the numbers equipment and automobiles to aid effective enforcement of the law, particularly for drivers testing and training. There is need to reduce physical contact between enforcement personnel and drivers to minimize the incidences of corruption. The instances of corruption where you see a driver coming and giving kitu kidogo, whereas he has been over speeding. And I was asking a question. I have seen these things that look like guns on the road. Are they toys or what? So they are saying they want to have a number of them so that we reduce that touch of person to person. They deal with the digital. Remember, we passed a law here. Whoever is found over speeding pays how much money? How much? We need to get that money. Government should invest in automatic number plates, recognition cameras linked with the ticketing of offenders, and speed guns. The speed guns that we are talking about. Strengthening the road monitoring and surveillance. Among others, timely detection and removal of abandoned vehicles or carriages away from where they've been parked and reprimanding the drivers and the owners of those vehicles. UNRWA needs adequate resourcing for rigside equipment of communication and towing of abandoned vehicles. You find most of these cars get spoiled on the way. You don't know that in the middle of a park. So you find in that area there is even no network, you cannot know what is there. So the regional officers should be able to communicate on what is happening on the vehicles that have gotten accidents and are likely to get accidents, or those that have gotten spoiled in some areas and are likely to cause accidents, and they should be removed away from the roadside. The long-term intervention, automation of regulatory and monitoring process to minimize human contact and reduce incidents of corruption and influence peddling. 2, enhance the budgetary provisions for relevant agencies in the road safety value chain, especially capital budgets. 3, general strengthening of the road safety monitoring and enforcement. That is enforcement of speed limits around the blind and black spots, notably the market areas, the schools and other public facilities. 4, road design should match the growing population of the people and vehicles for strategic development plans of the country. 5, the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development should increase on the development budget allocation on UNRWA, Minister of Works, Police Force, so that to ensure safety measures are put in place. And finally, we agreed to have a monthly meeting to evaluate on what we agreed on immediate intervention, on how it is performing. That's what we agreed. Honorable members, as leaders, we should prioritize on the lives and living conditions of our masses. It should be a precondition for a sustainable development. All this we are laboring to do. We started that meeting as early as 8. But we are doing it for the good of our people. As a house, will require to have a quarterly update on actions taken to stem the road and water carnage. The minister will have to give us a report always. Honorable members, I will also vary the order paper to accommodate the laying of integrated annual report on National Water and Sewage Corporation